also understand that if we do not protect our skin from sun, we are prone to getting conditions like pigmentation, melasma, premature aging, fine lines, wrinkles, open pores, and aggravation of all photosensitive condition, which is sun-induced or sun-sensitive condition, photo-induced condition, which are many skin diseases which are induced by the sun rays.
Hello and welcome to the Sunscreen Mask special podcast on the occasion of National Sunscreen Day, which is going to be on the May 27th this year. Today's show is going to be all about skincare routine, about healthy skincare habits, using sunscreen, which type of sunscreen is the right sunscreen, how to apply, and of course debunking a lot of myths around sunscreen usage. All of this is going to be revealed by our very renowned dermatologist and cosmetologist, Dr. Farida Modi. Dr. Farida, welcome to our show, Sunscreen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pooja.
Thank you very much, Dr. Farida. All right, we dive in straight to the topic today, which is about skincare and sunscreen, which is the most talked about topic, obviously. Let's talk about the key challenges with the summer season coming in and with the temperatures rising in. What is the key challenges that comes to the skin with the summer routine, especially?
So during summer, there is not only an increase to the sun exposure, there's so much of infrared hot rays that it causes increased humidity, increased sweating, and because of which your oil secretion increases. So most of the people start getting clogged pores, start getting flare of acne on their face as well as on the body. So using the right kind of sunscreen, which is for acne prone skin, is also very important. Summer brings about a lot of, again, sweating, which would cause clogging of your sweat glands too, which furthermore causes a condition called as malaria. It causes flare of pre-existing photosensitive conditions, sun-sensitive conditions like rosacea, SLE, DLE, PMLE. So all these are common problems which you come across during summer.
Okay, very rightly pointed out, doctor. But can you just highlight a bit of potential risks also that are associated with skincare not being followed right, especially with this heat wave coming in? What do you really want to highlight about it?
So sun exposure, we are made to believe from many years because it was always spoken about the white skin, right? So sun exposure, we are made to believe can cause only skin cancer, which is not true. Skin cancer is caused, or sunburn is caused by ultraviolet B rays. But for our Indian skin, we should also understand that if we do not protect our skin from sun, we are prone to getting conditions like pigmentation, melasma, premature aging, fine lines, wrinkles, open pores, and aggravation of all photosensitive condition, which is sun-induced or sun-sensitive condition, photo-induced condition, which are many skin diseases which are induced by the sun rays.
That's pretty informative, doctor. But can you tell me the role of a sunscreen really here in combating this risk altogether? And can sunscreen really protect our skin from UVA and UVB rays, as you mentioned?
So I always tell my patients the best way of protecting yourself from the sun is not to go out in the sun. The second best way is physical protection, that is use of clothing, your umbrella, your caps, your scarves. So these are the best way of protecting yourself from the sun. Additionally, you put a sunscreen, which is a broad spectrum sunscreen. When I say that, I mean that it should have good protection from ultraviolet A, ultraviolet B, infrared rays, heat producing rays, and blue light. All of this. So in the market, we have sunscreen which have both physical and chemical sunscreen. Now, your physical sunscreen are also called as mineral sunscreen. They are the ones which are mainly containing zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. They leave a white cast on our skin, but now there are these micronized version which doesn't really leave that very ghastly white cast. They are incorporated along with chemical sunscreen which gets absorbed in your skin, and they absorb all your ultraviolet rays. So your ideal sunscreen should have both physical sunscreen as well as a chemical sunscreen for maximum protection.
Wow, this is amazing. Like, knowing about mineral sunscreen was new to me. Great. But there's also a lot of conversation about SPF. So what is the right SPF that we should be using? Any thoughts on that?
So, like I said earlier, because the whole world was only talking about skin burns and skin cancers, which happens more with white skin because they lack in melanin. They don't have so much of melanin as our skin type, Indian skin type. So, SPF is actually stands for sun protection factor, or rather, now the FDA would want to call it a sunburn protection factor, which is protecting your skin from ultraviolet B rays. Well, it doesn't really have any role to play against ultraviolet A, your infrared, and your blue light. So now we would want to go beyond just a SPF in our sunscreen.
Absolutely. And I think when we're talking about sunscreens, I also wanted to know, because the market has a lot of formations of sunscreens today, right? From spray to creams to lotions. Like, what is it that we can really use? Because there are a lot of options in the market, and our viewers would definitely want to know that.
Great. So you choose your sunscreen depending on not only your skin type, but where you want to apply, for what you want to apply your sunscreen. So let's say, for example, if you have a oily skin, then you go in for oil-free, gel-based formulation. You go in for more of physical sunscreens, which will not aggravate your oiliness or your acne. Let's say you want to look at wanting to put for your body parts, which is a bigger surface area. Then you choose a spray formulation or a lotion formulation. If you're looking at applying sunscreen for your children, then you use probably a physical sunscreen because they're less harmful on the skin. If you have a sensitive skin, let's say if you have rosacea or atopic dermatitis or any other sensitive form of skin, then you again look at a physical sunscreen because they have lesser chances of leading to contact dermatitis. Let's say you are into sports, you're a swimmer, then you look for all the sunscreen which have high water resistant properties. So you pick and choose your sunscreen according to your skin type, lifestyle, and disorders that you're suffering from.
Absolutely. So I think there's a sunscreen for every skin type, for kids, for infants even. That's what I heard, that sunscreen and skincare starts right from birth, and it's not just an age that you need to wait for your skincare. So absolutely delightful to know all about sunscreens. But doctor, understanding that we've started using our sunscreen right from early age, how will we understand whether the sunscreen is really effective or not? How do we really measure the effectiveness of a sunscreen usage?
Well, as a consumer, you will not be able to know on the effectivity of the sunscreen. As physicians, many a times we do this test called as MED, the median erythema dose, where we expose the skin, one which is not without sunscreen, bare skin, and one with sunscreen. Now, the time taken for a skin to get burnt without a sunscreen or with a sunscreen will let us know on how effective your sunscreen is, and that too again against your ultraviolet B rays. But the best way for a consumer to pick up a sunscreen is look for your SPF and look for your ultraviolet A rating. So look for a good boot star rating or a good PA factor.
Okay, so boot star and PA star rating is what you choose your sunscreen with. Great. So we got to know about sunscreens being water resistant, and you've already highlighted that not all sunscreen would wear off with sweat and water, which is great to know. But what about using sunscreen every day? Like, people think that sunscreen just needs to be used on a sunny day. I mean, that's not what it is, but our viewers would definitely need to know a little bit more about using sunscreen around the year. Any thoughts out there on that?
So the sun is out there all throughout the year. Mid-noon or maybe in summers, what gives you a feel of heat is your infrared rays or the heat producing rays. But ultraviolet rays is there right from when the sun rises to when the sun sets. So ideally, you should be using sunscreen throughout the day, any time of the year. So I would say 365 days, and from morning to evening, apply and reapply your sunscreen to have maximum sun protection.
Absolutely. Sunscreen is the way and the first step to having a good skin, undoubtedly. Doctor, also for viewers, who are using makeup every day, I think there is a question from them that once we do our makeup in the morning, we've applied sunscreen, but we're not able to reapply sunscreen. Is there any thought about how can they really do it?
So ideally, I would say all the mineral sunscreen, and now you have tinted sunscreen in the market, which you can replace instead of putting your makeup during the day. So start putting tinted sunscreen, and that definitely you can apply and reapply during the day.
Oh, wow. So that's a go-to thing for me as well to know. We'd also like you to show our viewers how do we apply sunscreen because they don't know the quantity of sunscreen that is needed. How should it really be applied? So I would really like a live demo and like to show you one of my sunscreens that I use, and maybe you could tell us and show us how can we use the sunscreen.
So that's such a useful question. Let's go ahead and show our viewers how and how much quantity of sunscreen to apply.
So, doctor, this is one of the sunscreens that I have been using, and I'd really like you to show our viewers what is the right way to be using a sunscreen.
So, what is the right way? First thing, use the right quantity, apply and reapply. Use it, like we said, morning to evening throughout the year. The quantity is very important. Ideally, you will take 2 fingerful of your sunscreens, and this is good for your face and neck. Okay, and this you just dab it and just spread it. This is one way, or you can take 1 spoonful of sunscreen and apply it for the face and neck. Typically, a sunscreen effect would last for 3 to 4 hours. So apply and reapply.
Awesome. So, very important point that I'm going to take, you need to cover the sunscreen on your face, neck as well. People just do the face and don't think about the neck. So, make sure 2 fingers, handful, covering up face and neck, and that's the way to go. Right, doctor, so we've known the way to apply the sunscreen. May I know what is the exact and the perfect type of sunscreen that the viewers should be actually buying?
So like we spoke earlier, your sunscreen should have a high SPF, ideally 30 to 50. Higher if the sun exposure is for long hours intense. Look for a boot rating of 4-star and above, or a PA of more than 3. Look for a sunscreen which also covers you from infrared rays and blue light, because nowadays we are all so addicted to our phone and our computer screen, which is emitting blue light, which also causes a lot of damage to our skin. So look for all these ingredients and you have your correct sunscreen.
Beautiful. So I'm sure I'm going to find my correct sunscreen as well very soon. With that, doctor, I just wanted to add on by saying that with global warming coming in, increased temperatures, every day the weather is very different. What is it, that one message that you'd like to share with our audience? Anything related to sunscreen going on?
Well, I would say, all the pharmaceutical companies are working so hard. They're spending their time, money, effort on wanting to get the better formulation where your sunscreens are concerned. And now I think we've had a breakthrough and have had most of the ingredients which covers up all the spectrum of your sun. So like we spoke earlier, look for all of them and go in for a broad spectrum sunscreen, but do not forget to, along with that, use physical protection like your cap, your hat, your umbrellas and clothing.
Awesome. So I think our viewers are now making notes about all the important information that you've shared. Thank you very much, doctor. This was really an insightful conversation about, breaking the myths about sunscreen usage. What should we be doing in daily routine? I think I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers will benefit a lot also from this discussion. So thank you very much for sparing in your valuable time in this discussion. For more such information and to be connected with renowned doctors and have more information coming in from them, stay tuned to our Sunscreen Must podcast. We're available on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Stay tuned. Thank you very much for joining in. This is me, Pooja, signing out. Ciao.
For any more skin and hair related tips and information, do follow us at Dr. Farida Modi @dermacare on our Instagram page. Thank you.